So psychological safety is really the ability to be able to speak up without fear of reprisal. So without fear of actually, being belittled or being demoted or having some sort of consequence for actually voicing your opinion, your vulnerability, your concern. Reporting cultures have been something we've been aspiring to for a long time, like 20 years. But to actually make that happen, you have to make people feel psychologically safe. So you can't simply say, it's safe to speak up here, we want to know if there's a hazard or an issue. You have to make them understand that there's no consequence for speaking up. And if you have a perception of within the workforce that there is a consequence for speaking up, then they're not going to say anything because they know there'll be a cost and they weigh up, is this worth saying something or not? And that cost might be from the organisation. So it could be that someone's seen as a troublemaker, so they're not going to get the next sort of roll up the line, or it could be even a cost from their peers, saying, oh, you're such a whinger, you're always rabbiting on, we just want to get going. So it's weighing up, is that actually worth it? So lots of the research on psychological safety has actually been done in environments that were aspiring for reporting cultures. And it's interesting, a good reporting culture usually is a culture that has high psychological safety. And when you look at research, particularly like in hospitals, for example, they're high-risk industries like mining, where there's lots of procedural controls. And what they found is teams that had high levels of psychological safety, those people within those teams reported incidents around 90% of the time. So the reporting behaviours are really, really high. But teams that had low psychological safety only really reported things around 70% of the time. So there's a really big difference between whether or not that reporting culture was effective, and the thing that actually enables that reporting culture is firstly the psychological safety. So that would be the key to actually building that success. Yeah, there's a really strong group culture, and it's working every day. It becomes your second family in this culture. So the actual dynamic of that group is really powerful in shaping whether or not someone is safe to speak up and report, because it's, will I get support from my peers for saying the unpopular thing, or will they actually belittle, roll their eyes at me and think, oh, here they go again, that's such and such, they're always on about this. So that dynamic in that group really is powerful in influencing whether or not someone speaks up. But probably the other part that really is powerful in that group environment is the leader's shadow that they cast. And so if it's a leader who's a bit of a know-it-all, they tell the workforce what to do, anyone who actually does speak up and, suggest something different or report a hazard, that response from the leader in that first, 2 seconds will shape whether or not someone will tell them anything again. If it's an eye roll or a, I think it's something else I've got to deal with, what's the message it's sending? Don't tell me.